Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we're going to review Wahid's Robo-advisory service. And as always, I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say things exactly how I see them, but I'm going to try to remain fair throughout. And this video will come to you for the very affordable price of leaving a like, so be sure to do so. So let's get right into it, shall we? Straight to the Wahid Invest website we go. If I'm being honest, the first thing I noticed on their website is that they have Khabib Nurmagomedov as a brand ambassador. For those who are unfamiliar, Khabib is a retired cage fighter, which strikes me as somewhat of an odd choice when thinking of promoting halal investment products, but I digress. By the way, you'll notice I say Khabib, not Habib or Khabib, which is what I'm assuming small kebabs are called. I think a lot of you need to stop acting fancy and start pronouncing your ha's. I don't care if you lived in the West your whole life. It's not Alhamdulillah, it's Alhamdulillah. Say it right, people. Okay, enough fooling around. My apologies. Let's go back to the top of the Wahid Invest homepage. Invest in line with your beliefs. We help you choose a risk level that's right for you. Once you fund your account, we'll do all the heavy lifting so you can focus on what matters to you. What this statement is basically saying is that they're going to start out by asking you a bunch of questions to determine both your ability and willingness to take on risk. And based on your answers, they'll assign you to one of their portfolios, which range from very conservative to very aggressive. This assignment will be done by code, robotically, if you will, not manually by a person. Hence the category that Wahid's service falls under, which is that of a robo-advisor. Robo-advisors are generally good when you're dealing with a smaller investment amount that doesn't require personalized care. And they're also good when you don't have the time or interest in managing your investments yourself. This is because the automatic allocation of your funds should, in theory, cost less since there isn't someone dedicating time to your particular account. Shameless plug alert. If you do like to manage your stock and crypto investments or a portion of them yourself actively, consider becoming a PIF member to see my crypto and stock portfolios and access exclusive investing content. Additionally, if you want to read about halal investing generally and topics related to building wealth in a halal way, go to practicalislamicfinance.com, sign up to our newsletter, and follow us on social media. Links to all of that are in the description of this video. Now, back to Wahid. Something that I found not good about their site is the fact that I am recording this video on March 23rd, 2022. The last date their performance was updated on their website was May 27th, 2021, which is almost 1 year ago. As someone evaluating their returns, I would really like to understand how well their portfolios did since May 27th of last year, because a lot has happened since then, especially from December 2021 until now. I'm sure this information is available if you ask them for it, or it may be available someplace else, but I'm not seeing it. However, it should be also available here where they mention their portfolio's performance. Now let's dissect the different assets that are the component parts of the different portfolios that they assign you to. The first asset class that they have is global stocks. As an asset class, I have no problem with global stocks. Generally, there are of course considerations with regards to which stocks are halal, which I won't go into now. You can see our comfort ratings for various stocks on practicalislamicfinance.com. The second asset class they have is emerging market stocks. Again here, same commentary as global stocks, generally halal. Now let's talk about Sukuk. Wahid describes Sukuk as follows. The Sukuk holder has ownership of the underlying asset, which is entitled for revenues generated from the Sukuk asset, unlike the bondholder who is eligible to receive interest payments by the bond issuer. The Sukuk limits the value of debt to that of the underlying. It must be asset-backed or asset-based and interest-free. So, are these Sukuk really halal? Well, Wahid mentions in its definition of Sukuk that they are debt. They say it limits the value of the debt to that of the underlying. Keyword here, debt. We are talking about debt, folks, not equity, debt. What have you heard from me regarding debt in Islam? There are only two types. There's Qard Hasan, which is a debt given as a form of charity, and there's a ribawi debt. This is the debt that is given in pursuit of profit. Any debt given not as an act of charity in pursuit of profit in any form is ribawi. No one disagrees with this. Sukuk are not given as an act of charity. They are debt instruments meant to generate return for the investors. Therefore, they are ribawi loans. Now, can we be certain that Sukuk are meant to generate profits for the investors? Well, pull up their portfolio holdings. One of the Sukuk funds that Wahed invests in is called Franklin Global Sukuk Fund. In the list of portfolio holdings for this fund, we find a column with the title Coupon Rate. This column mentions each of the different coupon rates for the constituent holdings in this fund. And what is a coupon rate, you might ask? Well, let's look it up. A coupon, or coupon payment, is the annual interest rate paid on a bond, expressed as a percentage of the face value and paid from issue date until maturity. So we have a debt that is meant to generate income for the lender. This is riba, folks. Don't let the word sukuk, an Arabic word that sounds Islamic, fool you. Sukuk are definitely ribawi loans in their vast majority and are haram. It doesn't take a CFA like myself to figure this out. And this is not something that I sort of think is true. This is something I'm 100% certain of. And I hereby cordially invite anyone from Wahed Invest or any other Sukuk fund that would like to debate me on this matter. I invite them to this channel and let's figure this thing out together. We'll have the debate live, so no parts are cut out. My invitation is open any day of the week and twice on Jum'ah for the barakah. Now, moving on to the next asset class, which is real estate. If you look at their real estate exposure, they are getting it through investing in a fund called SC Global Real Estate Equities Fund. Looking this bad boy up, and what do I get? Top 10 holdings. Number 1 is Equinix for the last 12 months. The total interest expense of this company divided by the total operating expense was 6%. Second largest position, Prologis. For the last 12 months, total interest expense over total operating expense was 8.4%. American Tower Corporation. For the last 12 months, total interest expense over total operating expense is 15%. Now, riddle me this. How is a company where 15% of its total operating expense is in the form of interest expense, not a company where paying riba is a material part of their operations? I understand that the practical Islamic finance standard, the real gold standard in the industry, or the Bitcoin standard, I understand no one else looks at interest expense and compares it to operating expense. But use your reason. How is this a halal company to own and profit from? A company where 15% of all its expenses are interest expense. Come on, folks, what are we even doing at this point? How is it not true that this is a company that relies on interest to operate? The remaining two asset classes that Wahed Invest uses to construct its portfolios are gold and cash, which are halal, of course. So the only asset classes I find that are halal generally, without going into the details of what particular equities they are invested in, are equities, gold, and cash. Sukuk and the way that Wahed has chosen to gain exposure to real estate are asset classes which I am entirely uncomfortable with from a halal perspective. As far as pricing, Wahed charges the following: 0.99% per year if investing less than $250,000 and 0.49% per year if investing more than $250,000. They also mention that the investment funds that they use may have their own fees, which is not charged by Wahed. Now, if I look at NerdWallet's comparison of the best robo-advisors of March 2022, I see management rates that average around 0.25%, which is 1/4 of what Wahed charges. Some are 0%, some are 0.5%, but I haven't found any robo-advisors charging 0.99%. I'm not saying here that these other robo-advisors are necessarily halal, but just comparing their costs, it seems that Wahed is at the back of the pack from the customer's perspective. Keep in mind, with these robo-advisor fees, they don't take into account the fees of the funds that are used to construct the portfolio portfolios. So for example, in the very aggressive portfolio, Wahed puts clients' money into the Wahed FTSE USA Sharia ETF. This ETF has an expense ratio of 0.5%. Add this 0.5% to the 0.99% that the Robo-advisor service that Wahed provides charges, and you're paying 1.49% in expenses. You compound 1.49% over 5 years, that's around 8%. So in light of everything I've said, I find Wahed's robo-advisory service, for me, is a hard pass. I'm entirely uncomfortable with two of the major asset classes that they use to construct their portfolios, and I find their fees unjustifiably high. They may have their reasons for why they have such a high price, and why they have additional expenses they must account for. But from a customer's perspective, I find their product entirely uncompetitive just from a price perspective. If you're from Wahed and would like to come on the show to defend your service, let me know. Happy to have you. Just know that I don't take it easy on anyone in my interviews. The goal of not taking it easy on anyone in either my reviews or interviews is not to bash any person or any service. It's really to get down to the heart of the matter and to provide the audience with an honest review of the products that are available to them. I personally have no dog in this fight. I have no connections to Wahed. I'm not sponsored by any of their competitors. I have no interest in the outcome of this review, positive or negative. On that topic, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, make sure to leave a payment in the form of a like. Consider becoming a PIF member to support reviews like this. And as a perk, you get to follow my personal stock and crypto portfolios. Link to become a member is in the description of this video. Until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.